Today is January 6th. It also happens to be Epiphany, which is a day that reminds us of spiritual presence in our lives, as well as opening our eyes to the bigger picture, the bigger pictures in life at times. It's also about journeys, as those magi came to see the Christ child. And one of the things that my dad wanted to be was a teacher, a wise man, and a conductor of sorts to different journeys in life. Much of what I have learned about being who I am and how I am, those with courage and independence, persistence, things that have gotten me most of where I've gotten in my own life, I owe to this man. And there are two journeys that we took that are sort of, for me, are symbolic of what that was about, between himself and myself, and the way in which he was a conductor. It was literally a train trip when I was going to college in Boston in 1978. We rode the Southern Crescent from Atlanta up through Washington, D.C., up to New York, and then the rest of the way to Boston, where I was going to start my new college career at MIT. On my own, 18 years old, never having really been anywhere in the Northeast before. Culture shock and wet behind the ears. It was only 3 months before I had experienced my first staple. I thought it was really cool. To give you an idea of how exactly wet behind the ears I was. And sitting on that trail, as we rode up, he talked to me about life. He talked to me about what to look for, how to trust people. He held me and know he loved me. And also how to just talk to the people in the observation car. How to walk up to people. He made it okay to be really a man. And I had a rough time as a kid growing up. I had been chased and bullied, and I viewed other men as suspects. And he made it possible to bridge that for me. And then sort of into adulthood from the kid I was. Years later, I had my son James, who was about 4 or 5, and was crazy about trains. He came out to California, and we rode Amtrak from San Francisco to Reno, up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, myself and James. And we talked about parenting, and I got to watch him explain things to James, and the glow in his eyes and the glow in James' eyes, they came to each other, and it was like, parenting. I'm watching him with my son, the way I used to be on the other end of that. It was a transition. It was a journey, and he was the conductor and showing me the way and loving me and loving those around me at the same time. It was, he was a teacher, he was opinionated, he was loving, and I can never forget him. And my own son, David, who is also a train buff, wrote these words for his grandpa, which I'll close with. From David. On January 1st, 2015, Jack Sherrod passed away at age 79. In truth, all of my family knew that this was going to happen. He had been rather ill after the stroke, and his health had declined to the point of needing to stay in an ICU ward. I got to see him one last time on Christmas, and I'm grateful to have seen him. He was in bad shape, but we all thought he could beat the odds. My grandfather had fought off many health crises before, going back almost 20 years when he had to have a quintuple bypass operation. 10 years ago, he suffered a lung condition, and less than 5 years ago, he had a stroke. Each time, he hung on and pulled through it. I guess you could say that my grandfather was a fighter, holding on to life for so long. It hurts. It hurts bad. This seems to be the cherry on top of the mystery Sunday that is in my new year. In honesty, though, I'm glad he isn't suffering anymore. Given the level of life support he was under, in his final days, he looked like he could barely move his arms, and his face was almost flat, and I forced back tears as I write this, trying to recall the way he looked when I saw him Christmas morning. Jack was always one of the people I looked forward to seeing on our Atlanta vacation. While we didn't see eye to eye on everything, he was always willing to talk to me about things, even to the point of debate. He was fun to hang out with and nice to talk to. I still remember the Christmas before last when we all played with the radio-controlled helicopter. And it always felt like he had a story to tell. And that usually gave a laugh. He was stubborn, but strong. And he never backed down and fought until the very end. I ask that you extend your sympathy to Gail Glass, Jack's widow, his children, Vicky, Kobe, and Brian, and his grandchildren, Rania, Zaria, Kevin, James, and myself. But don't worry about me. The kindness and wisdom he has shown me will never be forgotten. Grandpa, if you were somehow reading this from the great beyond, I have this to say. I will miss you. We all will. And you fought to the end. I can say I am honored to have had you as my grandfather. You were an inspiration to me and my brothers. And as you leave this world to join our ancestors in paradise, I can assure you of one thing: you will be remembered. Please rest easy, Grandpa. You've earned it several times over. From your loving grandson, David